In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, to whom we all have to turn back. Honorable listeners and respectable audience, you know that we have started a series of research. In research, I told you about the definition of research, the characteristics of research, qualitative research, quantitative research, variables and research, the relationship between variables. Yesterday, I told you the short overview about the introduction of the first chapter. Today, our topic is how to write the background of the study and the introduction chapter of research. You are writing the first chapter of your research. You are writing the first chapter. So, what you have to do? What are the basic steps which you have to keep in your mind in order to write the background of the study in proper way? Listeners and audience, remember, background of the study is the heart of your first chapter in research. Why it is called the heart of your first chapter? Because it is the foundation of your research. It tells us that what is your research is about. What is the gap in your research? And what is the significance of it? What has already done before and what are you doing now? What is the missing gap? So you are discussing in the background of the study. Listeners and audience, first of all, I'm going to define what is meant by background of the study. Background of the study refers to the historical, social, or practical context that a researcher mentions and which leads the researcher to his own topic. So this is actually a background knowledge which leads you toward your main topic which you are going to conduct research. And this is very important when we are talking about the purpose of this. First of all, remember, this is very interesting point. That background of the study, it moves you from general to specific. What does it mean that it moves you from general to specific? First of all, you are discussing the topic in a broad term, in a broad perspective. And after that, you are going to narrow down the topic in order to come to your own topic in which you are going to carry out a research. Now the question is, what is the purpose of background of the study? The purpose of the background of the study is that first of all, you introduce your topic. Means that you are going towards the general definition of that. Then you are going to the specific perspective. After that, you are coming to your own topic. Listeners and audience, here is one interesting point I have written: how to start writing the background of the study. Now, this point is very important. First of all, let me shortly mention the basic points which are necessary. The first thing is that you introduce your topic. Second thing is that you go or move up from general to specific. Third thing is that you are talking about the significance of the study which you are going to discuss. I mean, you are talking about the importance of that. And third thing is that you try to mention the missing gap. And then you are coming to your own topic in which you are conducting research. Listeners and audience, whatever I share with you, all these are related to theoretical information. And the topic will be not clear until and unless I provide and present some practical examples. So when I present practical examples, then it will be a piece of cake for you. It will be very easy for you, I mean. So let me start. Listeners and audience, for example, let's say you are conducting a research. Why I have written these topics? You can also carry out research on these topics. Fine? There is a gap. For example, your topic is exploration of persuasive strategies and the religious discourse of. Any scholar you can select, but mostly we select a scholar who has a lot of viewers, who has a lot of viewership, who is motivational one. Okay, so let's say, for example, exploration of persuasive strategies and the religious discourse of Dr. Zakir Naik, for example. So whenever you are conducting the speeches, research on the persuasive strategies of the religious discourse of Dr. Zakir Naik, definitely you will select two or three speeches, but this is just your title. Now, this is what? This is the title of your research. Listeners, audience, please listen to me very carefully. If you listen to this one example with full attention, concentration, and focus, I'm sure you will face no problem. Now, this is your topic. Now, how to write background of the study for this topic? Now, look at this topic. We are going from general to specific. First of all, coming to general. General mean our topic is connected to discourse, and discourse our topic is related to religious discourse. But I should be very broad at the beginning. For example, I will start the definition of discourse. That what is discourse? Let me start. Discourse is the use of language for communication. It can be both in written form or in spoken form. Now, let's say this is the first paragraph. I was talking about the general perspective. I told you that we are moving from general to specific. So when I define discourse, this is my first paragraph. Now I'm going to connect this first paragraph with the next, and let me move towards specific now. First of all, I talk about discourse. I'm coming to, there are various types of discourse. For example, political discourse, social discourse, and religious discourse. If possible, you can define political discourse as well, social discourse as well, and then come to religious discourse. Provide each and every paragraph for them. For example, political discourse refers to a type of discourse which is based on political statement and speeches, and provide more information based on that. And then define social discourse as well, connected to this. Define it. After the definition of social discourse, now come to your most important point, which is more specific one. It means in the fourth paragraph, you should describe religious discourse, because now you are coming very near. You are going to narrow down the topic. You see? On the other hand, religious discourse refers to the Holy Quran, Hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, which have been after extended and to the jurisprudence as well, and included even the sayings of the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ as well, their practice. So that is called religious discourse. Now, what is your topic now? At the last paragraph, you mention your M. Why? What are you doing to do now? Because you shared the previous knowledge about discourse, the previous knowledge about religious discourse. Now, say your purpose. What are you going to do? Because background of the study tells us what has done before and what are you going to do right now. I mean, conduct right now in the research. So you will see The aim of this study is to explore persuasive strategy. A possible, you could also write, first of all, define persuasive strategies. And after that, persuasive strategies definition, you come to the strategies, religious strategies, and then you say the purpose of this study is to explore the persuasive strategies and the religious discourse of that scholar. Your background of the study is done. I'm sure you could have understood it. Let's come to the second example. The second example is challenges in the translation of Pashto text into English. Now, first of all, you must know, coming to the general example, coming to the general study, remember you must provide reference. At the end, no reference is required because you are presenting your own point of view about your research at the last paragraph, but the rest of the paragraphs which I discussed, what is discourse, religious discourse, a social discourse, you must provide reference at the end of each and every paragraph. Example 2. Challenges in the translation of Pashto text into English, or translating Pashto text into English. Now, how we will start now? First of all, I will define translation. That what is translation? Let's define. Translation is the process of transferring the message of the source text into the target text. It means the message of the one language into another language. The message, the words of one language into another, with the intended meaning, with accuracy and faithfulness. There are various types of translation: human translation, machine translation, sense person's translation, and other perspective. However, when we previously many books and texts, literary and non-literary texts have been translated. You mentioned the reference, and then at the end, whenever previous books have been translated, they have identified various problems. However, this research aims to find out challenges in translating Pashto text into English, from Pashto into English. So what are the challenges? So you will say this study aims to find out those challenges and to find out solutions for that. Last example, the effect of daily reading habits on English vocabulary development. Now you know that first of all, what you will talk about, you will talk about, for example, the reading. Reading is very important in our life. It helps us to improve our words, vocabulary, and build our confidence, understanding, comprehension, and fluency. We have observed, or many researchers they have observed, that whenever the students, for example, they are reading, they are getting a lot of words and vocabulary, but still they struggle when it comes to writing, when it comes to understanding. So you say this research aims to identify the reasons behind the weaknesses of the students, that why they are still struggling with the understanding of reading, the understanding of those words which are necessary for writing, academic writing. So as you see in the example, that from the example we can also see that as far as the habit is important, reading habit is important, this research will also finds out other reasons behind it, that how the students they could improve their reading habits whenever it comes to social or academic performance of writing or reading. So hope that now you know about how to write background of the study in the first chapter. However, if my listeners and audience, if they face any problem about the background of the study, they should mention in the comment section. And I would appreciate you more if those who are the new learners, if they could write some examples and share in the comment section, it would be more better. Thank you.